All right, we're live. Who all is here tonight? We've got Lars, Unfinished Projects, Mopars, Mustangs, and Minivans. Damien says 29 years ago he was 4. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. DNR says 95 was a great time. I agree. I was a sophomore in college. Rob's Rods and Streetcars, Mexican Spec, Pure Pontiac Garage, Landon Custom Classics. My Aunt Nancy's here. Functional Histories was 15 years, 11 months, and 30 days old, 29 years ago. Landon says, I lost 65 pounds last night. That's pretty good. He is the second leading YouTuber for weight loss right now. Let's see. Mexican Spec is here. Clayton's Toolbox. Mom is here. Cope is here. Let's see. Tavo is here. The One-Eyed Cat. He says with sunset being 8:30, I don't get to watch much. He'll be late for the start of the live. Don, did you ever hear back from that dude with the grill for my van? I've got several YouTubers working on helping me get a grill for the van. People who are Facebook Marketplace savvy, which I am not. I found a nice, Unfinished Project found it. It's a nice grill. Let's see here. If I can find that thing. It's a bunch of messages ago. Goodness. Headers Grill, finally. There. I'll make the van more retro looking with the old style round headlight grill, and that's a nice one. That's a nice one. We've got a deal done on it if I can just get a hold of that guy. He's right in Don's hometown. All right, who else is here? I got derailed slightly. Derailed myself. Jason's Garage is here. Dean Stevenson from the other side of the universe. Rick Salmon. NSB Custom Cars. Hello, Lee. Hello, Dean. Glad you guys could join us. Captain Dew. Dean said it's really warm. Well, it's warm enough here. Warm enough to mow in the rain. Andrew Nelson says good evening from Nivlac 57. Got tongue-tied there. Bigfoots and Mopars. Hot Rod Guy Garage is 125 days. Indeed. It's 124 days, 3 hours, 56 minutes. To be exact. Yeah, just for you, Cope. And I'm also wearing a vintage CRT shirt. This shirt's got to be close to 30 years old right here. It's got the coronet on it. Unskippable ad. Okay, well, the good news is you're not missing much if you're missing this show for that ad. Who knows? The ad's probably a lot better. Captain Deuce says, my one question is, what are the odds for using propane instead of acetylene gas for welding? I don't know. That just sounds like a big fireball to me, but I'm not qualified to answer that. Buffalo Brian is here. Cool. Glad you could join us. Engine Light Garage for Zell. Unfinished Project says I'm a messaging fool. Well, he did find that grill, so hopefully it'll work out. And we'll start in earnest on the cosmetic makeover of the van. Thumper said he had to pull the tunnel ram off today. It's not going back on. Okay. He has left the mafia, but we won't out him. Dizzy says, Chuckleheads, Knuckleheads, Advisors, and Survivors. Hey, everyone. How's the best group on YouTube? Okay. Tavo says farmers are not pleased with the lack of rain. I mowed in the rain all afternoon. It's been pouring rain here. Grass is out of control. I mowed sooner than I wanted to because of that. Tavo also says that propane plus oxygen gives a cooler flame for soldering radiators. Okay, well, there you go. See, there's people that know stuff in this group. Todd says, hello, Buffalo Brian. We need to talk more. Oh, goodness. You guys are a blast. JB is here. Big Mike is here. Andrew says we bailed our yard yesterday. Yikes. Well, I had some adventures in mowing. Before I get to the adventures in mowing, I want to show you guys this, though. I think you'll appreciate it. So I've been working on my friend's fork truck, and there's the starter. Okay. And yeah, I cleaned up a lot of that wiring. It's a mess, but we cleaned all that up. We resoldered the ends and all that good stuff, and just because it needed to be done. But the starter itself has problems, intermittent problems. So we took it to the local starter shop in Bluewell, West Virginia. The guy puts it on the bench. He sticks a jumper cable on the starter. The motor takes off running, and then he takes a big flat edge screwdriver and jams in the Bendix with it running like a stake, trying to stall it out. He says, well, I can't stall it out, so I'm saying it's good. Cut grooves all in the gear. If I had any idea that guy was going to do that, I'd have been filming it. Yeah. That place is. Sometimes when you're over there, you feel like you're in an episode of Green Acres. But speaking of mowing, this was yesterday. I was clearing trees, all this good stuff. I was on this hill in the mower, not all the way to the top, but pretty close. I was above my van there, and the mower popped out of gear on my rider. And man, was that fun. I don't know how fast we got. The neighbors were watching. His words, quote, you were flat getting it. That was his description of it. But yeah, there was no stopping it, because you guys that have riders know there's no real brakes on those things. So I'm careening down that hill. Caught some, I don't know if you can really see it. Yeah, that intersection down there. See the manhole cover in the intersection? That's Augusta Street in Fairfield, West Virginia. I hit that manhole cover and caught some air. Landed on the other side. And the street is right before that house down there. So between catching air right there and getting down there for the street, I got stopped and turned around. But that was exciting. If that street looks steep in the picture, it is very steep. Those things don't have any caster in the front end. They handle like shopping carts. It was exciting. Let's see, anything else good happen? My tree trimmer Artie and I, when I say we took out a lot of brush, we took out a lot of brush. That was over 1,000 pounds of just nothing but brush. Anyway, fun stuff. So that was the excitement of the yard yesterday. Today mowed a different yard in the rain. And now I'm here. This is the part of the week I look forward to. None of that. So. All right. Did I miss anything good while I was yakking? We have Dean and Dizzy talking about libtards. Okay. Tall Garage just got done mowing. Ballast resistor garage has plenty of methane. You can keep that methane. Turbo Tom's keeping score on the Orioles game. Okay. Hot Rod Guy Garage says that more rain, we may need to figure out how to put a mower deck on a boat. No kidding. I have to different lawns to mow, and I got to put them in priority of what I can mow in the rain and what I can't. And yeah, that one right there. Yeah, you're not mowing that one in the rain. That one's pretty wild. It's the smallest lawn, and it's the worst to try to mow. If you don't want a lawn, put a big tarp on the ground. The grass will never grow for a year. Actually, the tarp will disintegrate. You'll have grass all up through it. And then you'll have the hem of the tarp get stuck in the mower deck just to punish you for that idea in the first place. There's Mean Street Mopar. What's going on? Go check out Mean Street Mopar. He's up to 159 subs. He is finally moving the needle. So go over there, check out what he's doing, encourage him, and tell him what you want to see. Give him a hard time, whatever. He's got the needle moving now, so he can do it. BNR says, Thumper Tunnel Ram, too hard to start on ethanol. Yeah, we talked about that. So BNR, if you haven't seen it, watch the live stream I did with Thumper on ethanol. It was great. We've done two, actually. Turbo Tom says he'll be in Virginia for the next 2 days. What part of Virginia? Because it's a very different state. Very different state from one region to the next. Tidewater, South Side, Central, Northern Virginia, Southwest, far Southwest are all very different areas. And for those of you who don't know, Buffalo Brian 33 and the One-Eyed Cat are brothers. And then, of course, Wrong English and Wendy completes the clan there, at least on YouTube. Hey, there's SRP. JD 1975, 300 mows the best in the rain. I wouldn't doubt it. That actually sounds like a good inclement weather mower. Captain Dew's broken in his new boots with spurs for the first time. I mean, I might have bone spurs in my boots, but that's about it. New Guy's Guitars here. Right on. So about the thumbnail. If I got this handy. It was 29 years ago today that the break-in happened at the Wayne County speed shops. So we have younger viewers in here who don't remember this, but a lot of you guys, will remember this. There was a nitrous scandal in NHRA Pro Stock racing in the 90s. And several teams were accused and whatnot. And the one that probably got the most ink out of it, and for good reason, was the Wayne County Speed Shop. They had Mopar sponsorship, ran a 2-car team, and there was a alleged break-in at their shop on May 17th, 1995. And so if you look at the thumbnail, you'll see some valve covers that were crushed in, an intake that had some dents in it. The block was broken. But that's a very interesting story. And so I'm reading up on it. There's reading and then there's research. And I'm working toward research on it because I would like to talk to some of these players while they're still alive to find out what we can. Rocky Myers' story is BS, alleged. So, Rocky, you believe they weren't running nitrous? Tell us what you think there, Rocky. Those of you who remember this, what are your thoughts on it? Yes, they were accused of running nitrous. Yeah, so it's an interesting story, and I want to do more on this and get it all into one place. Obviously, you can't talk Scott Jeffrey on anymore. He's not still around. Jerry Ekman, who got caught red-handed in 1997, he's not still around, but his crew chief is. He's selling appliances now, from what I understand. Thumper says they were spraying it. I totally agree. I think Rocky Myers, I believe it won a break-in. Mopar told them to shut it down. So are you saying you think Mopar told them that it was an inside? What do you tell us there, Rocky? Max Wedge Dick Dasher says, my dad said it was fishy. Yeah, it was real fishy. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't add up there. Usually, yeah, Andrew Nelson, I completely agree. That's like the super obvious what's funny is usually when a person has all of these really crazy things to try to explain something, it's because it's not true. The simple truth is, I think they just got caught, and the break-in was an attempt to cover it. But Scott has a construction company. Scott Jeffreyon's been dead for probably 10 years. Daryl Alderman has a construction company. He's alive and well. Although, if you look on the internet, you will see things that say Daryl Alderman has died. He has not. He is still kicking. He runs the family's construction company. He's just been out of racing a long time. No, I don't think they were broken into at all. Rusty Glidden said that he thought it was strange that these people literally, there were some parts broken, but they were out for a whole year and came back a 10th down. And then when the engines were sold later, Pat Musey got them at his shop with 200 camshafts and said that they couldn't get those engines within about 80 or 90 horsepower of having enough power to run up front. So, I mean, there's 100 pieces of evidence that make perfect sense if they were spraying. To me, it's a very interesting story. I remember when it happened really well. I'd like to dig into it a little deeper while some people are still alive. I mean, the worst thing they can do is just tell me where to go. No, I don't think they were broken into at all. I really don't. Evans Mopar Scott. Yeah, B&R was 25 at the time. Yeah. I remember it well. Alderman may still be stoned. Alderman, I don't think it had anything at all to do with this, but Alderman, he did have some brush with the law and went away for a little while, but he came back and picked up where he left off. Huh. Now, LP says that, fun fact, also 29 years ago today was that tank rampage in San Diego. Well, that's cool. I should check that out. Legalized nitrous. Well, it is illegal everywhere except pro stock, or a lot of places anyway. Rusty admitted nitrous. Yes, he did. He explained exactly how he did it. And at Indy in 1995, he showed how he did it, because it had to have been highly embarrassing for NHRA. The tech inspectors had looked forever and didn't see it. But see, people are too hard on that angle, because you got to remember, they were looking for something that they had no idea what it looked like or if it was even there. See, when we lose our keys, for example, we know what our keys look like, and we're looking for keys. These guys were looking for something that they don't know even exists or what it would look like if it did. And so it was very artful how they hid it, at least Rusty's. Rusty Glidden is the only person strongly suspected who has admitted it and explained the entire system, using the weight bar in the back for a holding tank. He used 125 wall, I think, instead of 60,000, so that it would weigh the same but have the void. Used a brake line and then glassed an 1/8-inch stainless line, glassed it into the hood itself, because that old fiberglass in the 90s was really porous. And that's how they did it. And it just showed it could be done. And it showed the inspectors could look at it and not find it. And Rusty admitted to running it in 4 to 6 races between 94 and 95 and was torn down regularly because that car went from not qualifying to the top half overnight. Andrew says they did it. They call it Promod. Right. Yeah, I remember that. There's something about Oldsmobile, which Warren Johnson was running Oldsmobile at the time. And I don't know. I think somebody's having some fun with him. I certainly don't think he had anything to do with it. But it was kind of funny. I don't know, Rocky Myers, because if Rusty hadn't done that, Bob Glidden was taking a lot of heat. He was getting told he was a liar regularly by Graham Light and NHRA. So if Rusty hadn't done that, Bob Glidden, that really helped Bob Glidden in the long run, because after that was over with and Glidden's times and performance didn't change at all, yeah, I disagree. I think that wound up working out in his favor. But I've never heard what Billy thinks about it. And I've never really had a conversation with Billy. I've met him. I've seen him at a few events. He's been here at Motor Mile at our 8th Mile track before running Pro Mod stuff. But I don't know. I wish my buddy Robert was here. My buddy Robert had a little bit of a rapport with him. Clayton's Toolbox. I think creative ways to hide nitrous is quite interesting. Yeah, the stories. Well, now, they rifle drilled the motor plate is how they brought the nitrous up. And the key has always been how to get it to the engine. And now, Rusty Glidden hit it in a weight bar in the back. That was his holding tank. I've heard batteries. I've heard water jackets. I've heard roll cage tubing. I've heard driver suits and all kinds of stuff. So who knows how the other teams, if they were using it, may have done it. We definitely know that Jerry Ekman and Bill Orndorff had a tank in their dry sump on their Pontiac. We know that because it blew up in the pits. And I believe Jason's Garage and Rob's Rods and Street Cars, they were there when that happened. Andrew says they knew what they were looking for. Their search was to see if the public could see it. And that's quite indeed possible. That's a great point. You know what that reminds me of? It's like, let's say that you're in a place that is prohibited from having handguns, but you have a handgun, you're carrying one. A cop might know you're carrying, but he doesn't care. What he cares about is, can the public around you tell you're carrying? If the public around you can't tell, he doesn't really care either, because he knows you're not the problem. Kind of the same thing. But I heard all kinds of crazy stuff, like hiding nitrous in the water jackets and recharging it with a grease gun and stuff that never really made a lot of sense to me. The water jacket part does make some sense if you were to separate it and have part for cooling and part for that, kind of makes sense. But and using the heat from the engine to pressurize it and all, I get all that. But and the battery, I could see that, a fake battery, because those cables are so big. Those cables are big as your finger. So I could see that. That could work. That could be a good way to do it too. But I always thought that was a fascinating story. I'd like to find out more about it. I really wish that now that we're so far away from it and nothing really, it's like the L.W. Wright thing. I always found that really interesting. The D.B. Cooper of NASCAR, this guy, L.W. Wright, this dude, he tells a lot of lies and writes a lot of, bounce checks and all this stuff, and works his way into the field in a race at Talladega, and then disappears. It just vanishes, right? I said, man, it's been so long now. I wish that guy would serve us and tell his story. And he did. He did a couple of years ago. So, never say never. I think it's great. But I hope that these guys, like the Wayne County guys, a few of them are still around. I wish they would just tell us. And you know, if they didn't, they did. But man, there's an awful lot of circumstantial evidence to explain around. But I would love to know if they ran nitrous, how they did it definitively. Pictures, that'd be great. Nobody's going to care now. Yeah, Jason says I was in the pits when Ekman's cage. Yes, they were hiding a nitrous bottle in the dry sump tank in that Pontiac, and it got too hot and it blew up. And it, from what I've read, it made shrapnel marks on both haulers on both sides. Ironically, one of the haulers it damaged was the Dodge Boys hauler, but by then they weren't running nitrous. It's just Mopar Joe. Today was Dyno Day. I have a winner for the No Name Nationals entry. Right on. So, Joe, is that going to be in a video? Or if you got the link, we'll go ahead and put it up. Or if you want us to share anything, we certainly will. Thanks for joining us, Buffalo Brian. We appreciate you. Yeah, BNR is talking about hiding nitrous. That's a very BNR-like thing to do. Blue Grit says, how did they hide the solenoid wiring in the switch? I know that Bob Glidden said on Rusty's car they had a series of things you had to turn on so that you couldn't do it by accident. It was several things on board that had to be turned on in series to power the system. As far as a switch, I doubt there's not going to be a physical switch. I'm sure it just activated off the throttle, I would guess. Andrew Nelson says, my hidden system came through a hollowed out battery and through the battery cable into the wiring harness. See, there you go. Yeah, I've heard of that before. It was not obvious to the folks I ran. Yeah, cool. Yeah, there's lots of ways of hiding it. That's for sure. I did not realize how many there were until this happened. So Levi sent me some pictures of his front suspension. I don't know what we're looking at here. Tell us what we're looking at there, man. I see a Heim joint. I'm not even sure what we're looking at. I don't know what that plate looking deal is either. Strange. DNR talking about hiding nitrous. Thumper says Pontiac is super easy to hide a fogger under the intake. Well, there's different levels that people are going to look for this thing too. You got to realize a teardown on a pro stock is a really serious teardown. So how you have to hide it depends on how far a person's getting torn down. But DNR says the 90s were awesome. I agree. Twisted Mopar says, I think back in the day they all cheated with some sort of nitrous. I don't think they all did. I think some of them did. Thumper says a friend of his hit a 10-pound bottle of nitrous in the heater box of his third-gen Camaro that he LS swapped in 2004. I did an LS swap on the third-gen Camaro in 2004, but I don't think he stuck a 10-pound nitrous bottle in it. Ran well. Just Mopar Joe says we killed 550 both ways. That cut 2/3 of the guesses. First video should be up tomorrow. I've got a lot of editing to do. Cool, right on. We'll share that out when Joe gets it up. Max Wedge Dick Destry tried the nitrous, the whipped cream canister nitrous. Yeah, I saw one of those. in the parking lot of a Mexican restaurant one time, picked it up, and I said, wow, look at that. But I don't know if you could do much with that or not. Old McDonald said, if everyone was cheating, why was Wayne County speech officer? I don't think everyone was cheating. I think they were cheating. Because if you think about it, man, there's an awful lot of stuff that they had that just is so unexplained unless they were spraying. You realize that those guys were running the B1 head, which has the regular big block Mopar pattern. Exhaust, intake, intake, exhaust, exhaust, intake, intake, exhaust. That head is not going to make the kind of power that your big block Chevy, your DRCE stuff, your 429 Boss shotgun motor, it's not going to make that kind of power. And yet there it was, went to the pole. Those people with the same cars, same heads, all that stuff were running, struggling to qualify in 1988. And then in 89, boom, here they are, right? I know that Bob Glidden and Warren Johnson were the first two to go to the Liberty 5-speed in 1991. They were the first two. And I read, again, I'm not sure, I read that it was 40 horsepower less that took the turn. That sounds really extreme, but still, they said over the Lenco, over a 5-speed Lenco, because they were playing around with going to 5-speed on the Lenco or the 5-speed Liberty. And it was pretty well universally agreed that it's better to go to the 5-speed Liberty dual countershaft transmission. Well, even running the heavier transmission, the Dodge guys ran the Lenco all the way up there 95. So they're running a heavier transmission. They're running heads that have less potential. Basically just raised port big block Mopar heads that had a canted valve, but they were in the same order. So you still had them get hot in the center. All of these things, none of that makes any sense. And somehow this power just falls from the sky in 1 year. It just doesn't, none of it jibes really. Yeah, not all those vacuum hoses were legit. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Wayne County went to the top of the field. They went from way down to the top of the field overnight. Yeah, sure did. And then after the break-in, they were gone an entire year. We're talking about a factory-funded outfit. They were gone a whole year. When they came back, they were a 10th down. How could you not possibly replicate that? They had 10 engines. I think 2 of them. Oh, and then by the way, these were all the 4.84-inch bore center. They were running against 4.9-inch bore center. They had every handicap and yet had all the power for some reason. It just doesn't make any sense unless they were spraying. But, I would love to hear from, people who were there. Busted Radio Garage, Chris is here. What's going on, man? Says thanks for the banner. Well, cool. You're welcome. They probably had lighter springs in the distributor. Yeah. I don't know. I always thought that was interesting, and I just thought that was a really interesting story, and I'd love to know more from. Oh, and you know what? There's a write-up in here that preceded the nitrous issue, and it says one of the hot topic going on is they were comparing this case with OJ's because they were going on at the same time. I thought that was interesting too. Levi says, I'll never cheat to win. It's not worth my integrity. Improves instantly. I'm not the better builder racer person. I completely agree with that. I'm all for, finding the gray area in the rules. I think it's great. But NHRA said explicitly, I think the first week of May 1995 that nitrous is prohibited, because before that it wasn't expressly prohibited in clear, exact, precise language. So a tech bulletin went out after Memphis in 1995, the first week of May, and NHRA said the use of nitrous oxide in pro stock class is expressly prohibited. A week later, the break-in thing happened and those guys disappeared. There's yet another circumstantial piece of evidence. Yes, they were the B1TS heads, which were the B1 heads, except they had canted valves. The valves were canted. But those heads were still not in the same league as the DRCE offerings of the day. Well, Mexican spec, Rusty Glidden's car wouldn't qualify, and then he qualified the top half of the field with it. Nitrous and coke. A lot of that was going around. Yes, indeed. Andrew Nelson says it ain't cheating if your hood is open and they don't ask. Well, I believe that when the rules said it's prohibited, that's it. I think when they leave you a gray area, that's up to you. One thing I hate is that expression, the spirit of the rules. I get it. And I think that some people go off the rails with that. But when you're talking about professional racing, and we're talking about really fine splitting of hairs, I think that the saying spirit of the rules to try to cover an inept tech department is not cool at all at that level. Functional Histories wants to know what happened 44 years ago tomorrow. I do not know. Yeah, Thumper says they had the pistons turned around. That's probably all it took. It's probably all it took. Yeah. No, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. Yeah. OJ was in. Here you go. I think it was OJ's real killers that did the break in. No bird squeaking in the background. It's noisy. This computer itself is noisy. Levi says cheating is knowingly breaking the rules. Gray area doesn't matter. If it's not caught, it's on the driver builder team to not cheat. Well, there is a difference here, Levi. If the rule book leaves holes, it's not up to me to figure out what the intent of the rule makers was. That is not a team or driver's job, is to try to figure out what their intent was, because after all, they're not the innovators. You are. Andrew Nelson's talking about heads up grudge stuff. Yeah, which is completely different. That's a good, important distinction to make. Cheating is cheating. I agree. But if a rule book, like I'll tell you, if the rules don't say it kind of thing, a lot of that stuff Smokey Unic did wasn't cheating. But once he did it, the rules like, okay, well now, we got to make a new rule. Uh-oh, look out. Cope says, JB, what do you call a pig that knows karate? Andrew Nelson says, I never cheated in class racing, was very successful. I agree. I think it's great. I believe you got to have integrity. But there's all kinds of things that make it into the rule book because somebody innovates in a gray area. And I think that's totally okay. Frizzell says if it's not written in black and white, it's not a rule. You read rules for what's not in them. Yes, I agree. That's how it works. Levi, people do it all the time. They do it all the time. I don't. Yeah. Yeah, that's I think that there's a lot of things that just they may never have thought to have written into a rule book, and then a smoky unit comes along, and now there's. I bet you that he has more rules written about him. BNR says back in '95, head porting wasn't anywhere near the technology advanced as it is today. Um, I don't know. Everything is more advanced today. Well, now, Pure Pontiac Garage says, I'm talking when you tell someone you don't have nitrous and they do. Well, no, that's different because that's a lie. That's different. Yeah, again, there's a difference between cheating and finding the places that the rule book is not well developed enough. That is a big difference. Busted Radio Garage says he's going to call Cope and needs a beefy transmission. Well, Cope can do it. This is funny. Thumper says, I haven't paid taxes for 20 years. Levi says, Thumper, you haven't been employed for 20 years. Unfinished project says 18 Saturdays until NNN 24. Dizzy said, I think there's some famous guy in court now for being a tax cheat. Is Hunter Biden on trial now? Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I would really like to know more about these these different teams that played around with nitrous in pro stock. Busted Radio says, question is, will Unfinished Project be at No Name Nationals in 2024? I'll let him answer that. That's just a question. It's not necessarily the question. Yeah, Levi's cutting up control arms. Okay. Levi's wanting to be retired. Levi, you're 23. Yeah, a friend of mine was telling me I have to tell you guys about trying to stall out a starter with a screwdriver like that. Sparks everywhere. The noise was horrific. I really wish I'd known he was going to do that. I've been filming it. That was my biggest regret about taking off with the mower and the mower coming out of gear was that I didn't have that on video. Busted Radio says, I may have to bird dog his post office box to solve the mystery. No, no. He's mysterious, but he exists. Unfinished Project said, it all depends if I can figure out how to get this bracelet off my ankle. So there you go. Oh, yeah, I saw that too. KJ Keeley, how about lead weights in the belly of your walleye? Yeah, see, I mean, I don't know. I wonder what the rule book says about artificially adding weight to fish. That would be interesting. I've never read that rule book, but yeah. I'll tell you one thing, though. That was a great video when they cut that fish open and found leg weight in it. This guy's been doing that a long time. Won a lot of money doing that. Dizzy, what does that mean? These rich people file suits, throw them around all the time. It doesn't mean a thing, and you know that. Captain Dew says, I would not use nitrous oxide in life. I might overshot and crash and burn. Okay. Oh, that promoter was very unhappy, and for good reason. Throwing in politics makes me turn away. Okay. Yeah, I don't even have a TV anymore. I haven't watched TV in not regularly in 9 years now. Joe is a proud Arkansan. It's an interesting demonym. Dean says, was they guilty of nitrous use or innocent of nitrous use? Asking for the juice. If the bottle doesn't fit, you must acquit, right? Mohawk, how's it going, man? Glad you could make it. Yeah, it's been an interesting couple of days. I went on Saturday to a little track I've been to many, many times. I've done lots of stuff this week. I can show you guys this track right here. This is a real nice little 8th mile, not too far from me, Farmington, North Carolina. Cool track. Mopars at Farmington was this last weekend. This is probably my favorite vehicle there. This hauler right here. Quad cab ramp truck. Is that cool or what? Needs a 46 RH. It's ready to roll. This guy here running the AMC, he was hopefully he's buying a valve body from our friend Cope. He was looking for something a little more durable. Jethro had a good time. Let me see. None of that was what I was looking for here. Oh, yeah. I'm going to have a video up on this channel. I got some windshield repair work done to the van. Had a couple little rock chips that I wanted to get addressed before they spread. So Precision Glass here locally took care of those. I'll put a video up on that. I thought it was pretty cool. But here is the head those guys were running. And it doesn't look like anything. Like there's the rocker arrangement. You just don't see heads at that level that have the mirror image ports going down the head. Exhaust, intake, exhaust, intake, exhaust. You just don't see that. So there they are. And it looks weird for that reason. Let's see. None of that exists. Oh, and by the way, this is what that shop looks like today. The Wayne County shop. It's still there in Fairfield, Illinois. That's what it looks like now. It's a far cry from what it was like as a pro stock operation. If I ever go through that part of the state, I'll stop in and check it out for whatever it's worth. This is what I wanted to show you guys. So I was, we have a museum here that has archives of local newspapers. And I've been putting together some of these ads, and we'll probably go through these on a live sometime. But these are just some I found. Like these are all from the local dealership here in Christiansburg. Just the 206 and C4 transmission. I mean, who puts that in an ad, right? But they did that back then, back when cars had personality. I thought this one was particularly interesting. They show a satellite, and then they have Roadrunner down below it. It said the price won't hold you back. So are they trying to get you in there thinking Roadrunner and then sell you a satellite? I'm not sure. Automotive just closed up here a few years ago too. It's just right down the street. So I don't know. I may get into some of these old ads. I thought they were cool. If you want to see old advertisements, let me know. Let's see here. I really like finding oh yeah, here we go. Clark's Shell Station right here. Clark's Shell Station number 2. That building is now this building. The mechanic, it's still there. It's been built onto once, as you can see. So I don't know. I'd like to find some of those. It'd probably be good in a video, but I'd like to put some of that together for you guys. If you have anything specific you want me to find, let me know, because that was fun digging into that. Unfinished Project is putting up the links to several of our No Name 500 channels, like Scarlet the Four-Eyed Cuda and Mean Street Mopar. Go check them out. Unfinished Project says looks easily broken into. Yeah, it does now. Blue Grit's asking if there's a Mopar meet at Gateway in St. Louis. No idea, but I'll tell you the perfect person to ask that is Sean O'Brien. He will know. He works there. No Name 500 contender Sean O'Brien. He will be the one to ask. Nick the Van Man, how's it going, sir? Dean Stevenson says they'll shout not attack a Roadrunner with satellite. That's just wrong. Well, they did it. And that was the February 1968 News Messenger here in the New River Valley. Shop 209 is here. What's going on? I like Shop 209's 2-door, 4-door conversion Nova. And there's a link to Sean O'Brien right there. So he would know. There you go, Blue Grit. One-Eyed Cat says the Buffalo Brian had a 68 satellite painted copper color. That copper color has really grown on me over the years. I used to think it was pretty old man looking, but I really like it. Shop 209 says it's for sale soon. That will be an interesting buyer. Captain Deuce says, what's the biggest Mopar sedan y'all ever drove? Well, I can't speak for anybody else here. I would guess it's probably going to be an Imperial. Unity Motorsports Garage. He says, howdy, folks. About to build an ARC here in North Carolina. It has been pouring rain here. I know that. Mohawks, that's because you're getting old. Okay. Thank you. Hey, not everybody gets to be old. Belvedere. Well, Belvedere, Satellite, Roadrunner. I don't really know in the price hierarchy where a Roadrunner fit. I mean, we know GTX is high, Belvedere's low, Roadrunner, I guess, is somewhere in the middle. I'm not really sure. I would guess Roadrunner's a notch above Satellite. Whatever. Max Wedge Dick Dastardly says original paint on my car was copper tone. Yeah, I'm digging the copper. I like it. Old McDonald says just about every classic Mopar he's had was a metallic bronze. Unity Motorsports Garage, Andy says, good to see everyone tonight. Well, it's good to see you, Andy. Glad you're here. Andy, give us an update on the Casper-Matic. People are chomping at the bit wanting to see Casper get a high torque capacity touring transmission. Brazil says, I've thought about taking up boat racing. Yeah. SRP says Chevy guys like the copper. Yeah, maybe. Dizzy said the biggest Mopar sedan he's driven is a 72 four-door Fury 3. Okay, yeah. Brazil says Shady Side has canceled this weekend because of the torrential downpour. Yeah, okay. Makes sense. Shady Side just, I don't know how that thing doesn't have water standing on the track, because if you've ever been there, I've never seen pits like that. They're terraced off a mountainside down to the track. And he confirms he's heard the same. No go. 71 Dodge Polara for Captain Do. Andrew Nelson says that half the Chevelles I had were that ugly 60-70s GM green. I'm not crazy about and I don't know what to call it. They had a green that was on all the four-door old people cars Mopar had in the 70s. It was a really putrid green with gold mixed in it. That was never. I like the dark green, like the late 70s, like the Furies had. Like, remember that show Hunter? Remember that? That show, that dark green? I thought that green looked great. Well, thanks for stopping in, Nick the Van Man. We appreciate you. Old McDonald said the biggest Mopar he drove was a 71 Coronet wagon. That all sounds plausible. Shop 209 says the whole East Coast is canceled this weekend. Okay. Not for me. I've got plenty of stuff to do. Glad I got the mowing done, though. Tavo says we had little cars down under. Biggest I've driven was a 70 Dodge Phoenix. I'm thinking was that a B body? Well, no, I'm thinking of the ones that were older than that. I don't even know what a 70. Okay, so that was an Australian built Fury. Badges of Dodge. Okay, so it's a C body. Heads Machines calling her tonight. See you, Ed. Izzy is saying Mopar blast at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Okay. Mohawk says a lot of events are canceled here due to weather. Andy says plans have been made to get the baddest Ford automatic in Casper soon. Cool. Just thought I would put it out there, Andy, because I know a lot of people are asking. It's a popular truck. You're popular. Transmission's popular. They want to see all that come together in one spot. Andrew Nelson says Beaver Spring is rained out. We're going to take the Camaro out for the first time. Wow. You guys been rocking on that thing. See if I can do this justice. Dean says, Tavo. Shop 209, Andy wants to drag and drive to the No Name Nationals, and you would kind of be in that flight path or close to it if you wanted to make a northern route out of it. You could do that. You could drag and drive with Andy to the No Name Nationals. I don't know what it is, but Unfinished Project says, cool, I'm going to win. Let's give away a shirt. Wait a second. Let's see here. Give me just a second. We'll do a giveaway here in a minute. Just for the 52 of you who are in here. Andrew Nelson says last weekend dyno session was successful. That's cool. Andy says I'm driving to the No Name Nationals racing there. Next weekend I'm driving to Bowling Green for the Ford Fest. Fingers crossed on all that. One-Eyed Cat says, let me know when you do Beaver Springs. Dizzy says, I've been ignoring the vagrant, dealing with family stuff. I understand that. Dakota says, if it's free, it's for me. Free stuff. Some people OD on free. Captain Do is scouting cars to Mecum auction. Colleen says, my answer is still 72. Oh boy, we'll see. Let's see here. We'll give it a little bit of time here and we'll. Max Wedge Dick Destro says Dart Sport with 1 exclamation point. It should be Dart Sport with 2 exclamation points. Shop 209 says, I'm hoping to get a 10-second average at Rocky Mountain Race Week next month. It'll be a 1,200-mile drive. If it goes good, I might drive to the No Name Nationals. Nothing like testing it with 2 and then, to see if it'll make 1. So that'll work. T's Good Time Garage says, evening, gang. Well, hello, T. How's it going, sir? The defending No Name Nationals bracket champion. T's got a target on him. There. Max Wedge Dick Dashley fixed it. 2 exclamation points. Unfinished Project won the see, this is a community post, but I'm wondering if I have it as a saved photo. He won that banner. If I can find that or not. So when I shipped it, when I shipped the banner Unfinished Project 1, I had to get that in there somewhere. Old McDonald says Michigan has a lot of lightweight parts. You can see through them in many places. Yes, indeed. B&R, what are you bringing the No Name Nationals? You should get your Pontiac back together. I mean, you're certainly welcome to bring the truck, but Well, McDonald's says I need to win a good radiator or a 15-gallon fuel cell. Well, I don't have either to give away. Max Wedge says, where's Dougster? I have no idea. It was not my turn to watch him. Unfinished Project says the Jack Pine Savage is the prettiest car to No Name Nationals. I would agree with that. It's really something else. It's a beautiful car. And it looks really good and better up close than in video, which is highly unusual. A lot of us have 50-footers. BNR says every paycheck he's putting parts away. Oh, yeah, I get it. No, I totally get that. You have that other Pontiac, though. Blue Grit says my fuel tank holes. Does that mean it's lightened? No. Just Mopar Joe says I'm giving away beatings to Levi. No Name Nationals 2024 ends up. Okay, I'll say it because I mean this was the hardest laugh I had all week. I don't know where he posted. I guess it was Facebook or something. Levi puts up a picture of this, something on the back of the car, and someone had asked if it was a hitch, and Levi says, "Yeah, that or a parachute mount." And Joe said, "Are you going to drop that car out of a plane?" BNR's squirreling away another $800 in new parts. Yeah, I don't doubt you, but get those parts together. All right, let's give away a shirt. What do you think? What do you think? Let's do a shirt. All right. I don't know how many of you know what this is, and this one could take a while. This one could take a while. In fact, we might not have a winner tonight. How many of you know what this is? Now, this is not the question. We're not giving away a shirt if you know what it is. I just want somebody to put it up and identify, but that's not the giveaway question. First of all, so you guys know what this is. One of you knows what this is, surely. But that's not what the question for the giveaway is. So somebody identify it, and then we'll tell you what the question is. Okay, that is correct. It is a sprag. This is a sprag out of a 727 torque flight. In fact, it's the sprag out of the one-eyed cat Don English's 727 torque flight because I put a bolt in it. Overrunning clutch is okay. I actually like that antiquated term for it. I use that myself sometimes. No, it's not a broken 904 sprag choline. Those don't break like the 727s because those are factory bolt in. But I digress. All right. Can you see the edge? How it's reeded like a quarter. Can you see that? See how it's reeded like a quarter? No, Don, you can participate in this too. The first person who can tell me, and it might not happen on tonight's live, the first person who can tell me how many splines are on the edge, how many knurled splines there are on the edge of this sprag will win a No Name Nationals t-shirt. Dakota says high dollar stuff's expensive, but it hurts less when you break junk. Well, unless you blow up a drum in a transmission because you didn't do the bolt-in sprag. So I'm going to look at all these guesses. We may not have a winner tonight, but whoever gets the number of splines on this thing will win a shirt. In fact, what I'll probably do, unless I just happen to see it, I will I'll probably wind up put it on the community page who won it. Max Wedge Dick Dastardly says a lot. Yeah, it is. It's a lot. So However many splines there are on this thing, whoever gets that. And we're not doing a closest to, so you had to hit it. And I have no idea if this is available, if you can dig this up on Google or what. I really don't know. I counted them. One-eyed cat said, if I had it here, I would count them. Well, you don't have it there. This is the one that came out of your transmission. This is it. You got an upgrade. Oh, the numbers are everywhere. Well, whenever I see somebody get the actual number, yeah, good time for me to look now, make sure I didn't write it on there somewhere. I didn't. Most of the old parts races, I'll count one in the morning. Well, okay, Patrick's going hardcore. So it's just whoever gets it first. It's a lot of fun. Wouldn't that have been Wild Mohawk if they'd done the same number? That would have been kind of cool, actually. But yeah, I'll give you a hint since I said that. It is not 727 of them. And Dakota's just going in order. 100, 101, 102, 103. Well, you can do that. Anyway, it's just fun stuff. So something to be thinking about. You can try it. I don't know how long it'll take someone to get it, but when somebody does, he or she will win a shirt. But anyway, yeah, I had this thing on the dash, and I thought, we're going to do something with that. We can. But I'll tell you, the way this thing is made is pretty cool. It's if you can see this, zoom in on this. I didn't realize this, but the splines are made different at the top of that taper than the bottom. Now, the groove is made for catching aluminum shavings when they press it into the case. But if you look, the splines are actually, they're taller and narrower at the bottom than the top edge where they press it in. And I'm assuming they do that so it starts easier and starts straighter and easier when they press this in at the factory. It's a cool little piece of engineering. And then the groove, of course, catches all kinds of aluminum shavings. And I learned this at Copes because when I drove this one out, I saw this aluminum on the bench. I'm like, where in the world did that come from? I just cleaned this up spotlessly. Where all these shavings come from? And he told me that those shavings have been in that groove since Kokomo, Indiana in 1973. There you go. Dakota is going for it. He's going for it. Like I said, the first time I see it, I thought it was a half decent trivia question. I haven't seen it yet. And what I'll probably have to do is, I've actually scanned pretty good. If I see it tonight, I think I can call it, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I can because I haven't seen anybody get it yet. So if somebody gets it tonight, they're going to win tonight. Still going for it. You know, I was looking at my analytics from last week's live, and we did a couple of giveaways, and the comments were doing pretty well. And then giveaway, boom. Another giveaway, boom. Oh, look at that. Paula Nelson's getting in on it now. She's saying 340. Wow. Well, we're not holding anything up. We're just still rolling along, but we're going to. I don't know if Dakota, I don't know. How would I know? I know what the number is, though. I haven't seen it yet. Cave Dave, what is that in your thumbnail there? Oh, that's your 65 Plymouth. I love the grill they put in those. I like all of Dodge's 65 grills. I think they're just fantastic. Oh, look at this. Paul Nelson's telling you what, going for it. I don't know if he's going to guess it. I have no idea. You guys are everywhere. This is good, though. This is fun. Evans Mopars, can you tell me which number has been guessed so I can narrow it down? Wow. Yeah, I'll get back to you on that. Oh, man, y'all are going after it. Somebody's going to win this eventually. SRP says 100 the subs I need. Okay, so you're at 400 subs. Dean Stevenson guessed Cessna. Okay. Dizzy says 188. Shop 29 says 203. This is exciting. Paula Nelson says 234. Now, Paula, are you trying to calculate based on the diameter, or are you trying to do anything? Because I've always tried to do that when every year our bank does a drawing, and not a drawing, but they'll do a best guess on how much money is in a jar, and I always try to figure it out, and I've never won it. Old McDonald says verify it by having the machinist that made it. Verify it by counting. How about that? I'm sure that machinist doesn't even want to know. Let's see, where are we with this? Thumper saying 360 and Blue Grits at 289. Yeah, I knew it. I figured that. Yeah. The Nelsons are all very smart and analytical like that. I haven't seen it yet. Levi says 25. Shop 209 says 11. There's RT211 Racing. Hey, good. I'm glad you could be here, Ross. Let's see if you know this. You've just been into a transmission here. You know what this is, right? I know you know what this is. How many splines are on this where it presses into the case? Whoever guesses on the nose how many splines are on this sprag, they're going to win a No Name Nationals t-shirt. Actually, both one-eyed cat, but I did count it. I counted it manually. Took a little while. Andrew Nelson's 100. This is great. I'm surprised Andrew Nelson hasn't come up with, the pressure angle and, the diameter. I mean, I almost expect him to answer with a formula. Andy's guessing 360. Levi says 1,318. Dean Stevenson said the spline is ruptured. Actually, this one's perfectly good. This one can be drilled and tapped for a bolt in. This is a sprag core. And it's a perfectly good one. KJ says Dakota's keyboard is going to overheat. It could. Old McDonald says, I doubt many are pulling out their 727s and tearing it down to count. No, but you know what they should be doing is knocking this out properly and putting a bolt-in sprag in it. That's what they should be doing. Oh, boy, we got a lot of guesses going here. Look at this. Andrew Nelson says 150 SRPs at 300. Thumpers at 525. Old McDonald's at 256. Well, look at this. Man, you are all over the place. But this is good. This is fun. Paul Nelson's at 237. Shop 209's 273. Most of the old parts are us to have a bare case in the garage, 347.27. I don't know. You might be able to count it with it in a case. Maybe. I can't remember how much of that sticks up. I don't think enough of it sticks up to count, though. I would think it would be hard to do that way. Oh man, let's see. Levi's at 724, Old McDonald 257, Dizzy's at 201, Max Wedge Dick Dashley 264. Is it counted on the inner or the outer? Well, it has to be obviously counted on the outer. These are the splines. This is where it's splined into the case. Wow, guests are still flying in. This is great. This is a lot of fun, man. This is a hoot. Making y'all work for this one. I have not seen it yet. Levi says $9.99. No, but that's my favorite transmission core is a $9.99. Andy says $383. The real question is how deep are they? Hey, you can see it. It's deep enough. Evans Mopar says $1,500. That would be several of them. And we have a winner. We finally have a winner. And if anybody else guessed this before, I'll send out another shirt. But it looks like persistence pays off, and Dakota has finally got 249. And people were all around it. I think we saw 248 as soon as it started. And we saw 250 several times. But 249 is the right answer. Brian, you missed it. It's how many splines are on a 727 sprag race? And Dakota's got it with 249. Dakota, you can't get the brakes put on any better than I got the brakes put on the mower. And then the numbers stop. Exactly. If anybody did have 249, I can go back and see it. I'll certainly send out another shirt, but it looked like that's what I had. But that's a different, this is one, I've heard before, well, you can Google anything. You can't Google this. I've never seen that online. I actually counted how many parts are in a 727 transmission one time, too. When I say parts, I mean every part, like all the parts that are made of parts. And there's some variance depending on model, but that was really interesting. I thought it was. I like numbers. Dakota put in 175 guesses for that. I wouldn't doubt it. Well, anyway, Dakota, you want a shirt? Let me know what size in gray or black, and it'll go out to you. Pencils down. How many of you guys have smoke coming off your keyboard now? We'll do more stuff like this. It's just fun and games. I wish Cope would have been in here. Not that he would want to see it, because he does not like minutia like this. But anyway, Dakota says large and gray. All right, coming to you, man. Dakota says, like the story about the turtle, slow and steady wins the T-shirt. Well, you certainly did. Yeah, it was fun to count. You can see where I've got lines on there blocking it off, too. I was counting them in blocks and recounting them, and I had a system. So there you go. 249 splines on a 727 sprag, or what hold it in the case. Hot Rod Guy Garage said he probably shorted out and spit out the right. It could have. You never know. Although I think he got up to like 253 before he quit full auto posting. But I didn't listen. Hey, nothing in the rule book said you couldn't post like that, right? Although, in all seriousness, we'll probably do other giveaways in the future. In fact, I have a couple of giveaway ideas in my head for later this year that we'll do, but it'll be a one guess per person type of thing. Rating Slant 6 with a chance of cannonball says, how many roller elements in that sprag? Is that a new sprag offering? No, this is a factory stock 12 element sprag, okay? And you can get these made in a bolt-in style, factory style bolt-in. You can also get what's called the drag sprag, and it's a bolt-in, but it has 16 elements, and it's in all new pieces. But you can get a factory style converted, drilled, and tapped for bolt-in, and it's a 12 element. And I think the 904 off the top of my head is a 10 element. But the 904 from the factory has anywhere from 2 pins to 4 pins to 6 bolts to 11 bolts. If you have a 999 torque flight, 904, 999, 998 from the late 80s, they had 11 bolts that went through the output shaft support into the sprag threaded in. It's the best sprag, as far as security ever offered. You cannot spin that one in the case. It's not possible. But these, when they do a bolt in, for you guys who've seen them, what they do is there are 4 bolt holes that line up with the output shaft support. And they're these long, skinny bolts that go through and line up and bolt in. So you're not drilling any new holes in the case. I saw another channel on here. A guy said, well, I don't want to disturb something that's been in there all these years. I'm like, dude, you're not. You're giving up a dime and getting $1. You should do it. And you don't make any new holes in the case to do it. They are slightly time consuming to put in because of those little fine thread long bolts. You can't use power tools on them. You got to do them by hand. But it's not hard to do. Dakota will wear it to Sykeston when he changes his mind and comes on to Sykeston this year, right? How many splines in a set of planetary gears? You talking about the spline for the output shaft? Rick Salmon says, I bet nitrous. So you say set of planetaries, you mean the pinion carrier, I'm assuming. Dakota has nitrous hidden in his keyboard, probably. Ron English says, how John and all his friends. Ron, you missed a giveaway. I know you like giveaways. You were guessing how many splines are on this 727 sprag race. This came out of that transmission that you guys unloaded at Don's house. Later, Mexican Spec. Thanks for coming out. Most of the old parts and rust says, I haven't heard of sprag, but I twisted off both the input and output shafts on a 999 before I sent it to CRT. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. Yeah. Patrick likes to break stuff. Dean says the right answer was always 249. Well, only in this one case. I can't think of anything else that's useful for. All that knowledge and you're mowing grass. Yeah, in a 727 part thing. Yeah, there you go. Well, I'll tell you though, this is an important piece because this just presses into that aluminum. And if this spins in the case, usually because a spring and roller kind of gets all jammed up, it'll cause the drum to spin in reverse ratio. That's 2.21 to 1, and 4,050 engine RPMs goes up to 9,000 engine. Yeah, that'll spin the drum at 9,000 RPM, and that's where they start to come apart, the cast drum on a 727. Wendy says, you know what? What's that? Did you hear back from the guy with the grill? There's a guy with a grill that's perfect grill for my van, and it's there, right there in Don and Wendy's town. So hopefully it can work out to get it. And I'll have a nicer looking grill in the van later this year. Raining Slant 6 with a chance of cannonball. That's one of my favorite YouTube usernames ever. I should do a top 10 on that. That one's on there. Dr. Go is another one. Oh no, Patrick's broken a lot of stuff. Most steel parts is in there, a screw in there too. Yeah, there's a little set screw in there, but it's not much. Yeah, there is a little set screw. I mean, I don't know if I can see a witness mark on this one from the set screw or not. Maybe. Yeah, there is one. Right on the bottom. Ron says, I heard rumors this grill. Yeah. It's a 79 to 85 single headlight grill. And I'm going to upgrade by downgrading and get the lowliest utility van grill and put in this highly optioned van that had the dual headlight grill, you know. But I'm going back the other way to keep it simple and kind of hot rod van look. Yeah, I really like that one too. Will he do it? Bet he don't. Yeah. Don is voting for Patrick on the worst oil down award. Woo! It could happen. You never know. Patrick goes after it. Now, if Don had blown this up on the track, then we would put it back here somewhere. I'm just about getting to where I need to expand this area a little bit. Although I really like it. I almost hate to mess with it more, but I do have one more sticker board that goes in here. Well, there's 6% recycled. How's it going? RT211 Racing asks, how many times can an idiot with a red Challenger take a trans out and put it back in 3 weeks? 5. I'm just guessing. I don't know. Yeah. How is yours to get in and out? Are the headers tight on it? I don't know. I don't think ever in my life have I ever pulled transmission out of an e-body, ever. I can't seem to think of any time that I ever have. I may have, but I don't remember. Dick Dastardly's Max Wedge of Doom's got to be in the top 10. Well, Max Wedge Dick Dastardly is great, but Max Wedge of Doom is not in your username. It is on your decal. And as soon as I get, there's one decal I've been waiting on forever, and as soon as I get it, I got another board that goes up back here, and the Max Wedge Dick Dastardly Max Wedge of Doom decal will be on that board. Well, technically, this is Cope's Sprag Race core. I didn't even know it was in there until I got to your place. So I thought, well, while I got it, I'll do this. But it's not even mine. It's actually Cope's. I'll get it to him whenever I see him, I guess. I mean, he stocked up pretty good. He had, I don't know how many hundred on the shelf. So, but still, it's his core. Might be biased by like Mohawk 62. Nothing wrong with Mohawk 62. We have a lot of characters here. Oh man, RT211 says 4 times. It'll be one more next week. Hey, look at that. You will get a 5th. Gosh. Wow. You're gonna break the threads off the bolts from where before you break anything in the transmission? You can't tell you yet. You'll see. I've been waiting on it a long time. Yeah, Don, it was actually a core. It's a core for the one that went in there. But somehow this thing, I could have sworn was on his build bench when I left. And somehow in the cleanup and the parts, because remember, I know you wanted the warped steel, that was in yours and that. Somehow it wound up in the old parts box, and it wasn't supposed to. It was supposed to have been left on the bench and didn't. But anyway, as soon as I saw it oversight, I told him, hey, man, I owe you an apology. I thought I left this on your bench, so I'll get it to him. But anyway, while it's still out free in the world, I thought, hey, we can use this for a giveaway. All because of converter. So RT211, who already has the quickest Challenger for what it is in all the land, is trying to make it even quicker. But he's getting in. He's honing in on his combination. Nobody noticed Doom is on the hood of my car. I don't know when I've noticed that. I remember I noticed you have a whole pile of spacers. No, it has that warp piece. Yeah, I know. That thing was kind of a surprise. How many splines? It was 249 wrong. 249 splines. And I did not realize the way they shorten the ones on the top to make it start easier. And then, of course, it's beveled and the catch screw. There's actually a lot of engineering in this piece. And of course, this is 2 pieces. Yeah. But anyway, I thought it was really cool. Yeah, we've got fun stuff on the way, more stuff in the works, as always. But anyway, Dakota says, I won't have a transmission built unless his first name is John. The transmission's first name is John? Most of the old parts and Russ says I can pull a 999 on a Duster in 50 minutes. Yeah, Patrick gets a lot of practice. Patrick and I have just about the same transmission, except his has the dump valves for the converter. That's I think, about the biggest difference between the two of ours. Dakota says I name all of my transmissions John. Well, that's pretty cool. So they're like the king lineage of England, John the First, John the Second. Is that how you do it? You're something else. Bad Tree Blake in the house. What's going on? Glad Blake could swing in. I've been wearing my Bad Tree hoodie in all this cool weather, and then I take it off to mow in the rain so I don't get it covered in, wet grass scuzz. But I like wearing the heathen threads. Raining Slant 6 with Chance Cannonball says, did DV ever announce when they were going to have that St. Jude's fundraiser Mission Impossible 318 raffle giveaway, or were they going to do it in the name Nationals? I can tell you this. I was down there last week, and the pieces were sitting there, and I believe the block for it is going to start making its way to the Charlotte area here in 2 days. Most of the old parts, do I have the steel front drum? No, I don't in that for a couple of reasons. One, because the drum is smaller diameter. It's less likely to blow up. And 2, the 904 has the 11 bolt-in rear sprag anyway. And run a blanket. So no, I didn't in mine. Not saying I won't ever do it, but if it was a 727, I absolutely would. Absolutely would do that in a 727. I think that's a great peace of mind thing to do in your 727 46. Definitely. Bad Tree says, getting ready to do battle with the triple pickle tomorrow. Super speedway quarter-mile stuff. Cool. Sounds like a lot of fun. SRP, yes. You can get a Racer's Rep discount with competition products. Yes, Blake indeed. There's Redbeard 710. How's it going? Where are you with your 605 Hemi there, Redbeard? Dakota said I should name my Pontiac 400 Otis because it's real slow and drinks a lot. I like that. Most steel parts and Russ says I need the extra clutch for more holding power for the hot engine. Well, you can put 6 clutches in a factory cast drum, though. You don't need the steel drum to get more clutch. You need steel drum to make sure it doesn't blow up. I have 6 clutches in my cast 904 drum. I had Yeah, I've got 6 in the 5 right now, and you can do 5 in the 4, but it's a lot harder. You have to, the plate doesn't cut exactly right. RT211's doing some quarter mile stuff too. Cool. With Jeremy driving, who knows if it'll be safe? No, probably not. Yeah, y'all be safe. Blake, we had a giveaway to see who could guess how many splines are on the 727 race on a sprag. Dakota full autoed for the win. Dakota modified a cross member to fit a TH350. Got a 400 now, but when I was building the car, I didn't have one. Yeah. And Dakota, remember, there's 249. Jeep Compass. Oh, no. SRP on occasion. Of course, I'm making a video right now on my live streams. They stay up. They're durable videos. But yeah, actually, I'm doing one on glass repair, and we'll have pretty soon on the van. You can see a battery video on flipping a Jeep for $200. You just put that out. Redbeard says, not good as of now. Pistons touching the valves. Custom pistons are not built right. We're guessing, should find out next week. Yeah, I'd say everything's pretty custom on that engine. There's nothing off the shelf that you're going to be much doing there. Dean Stevenson, that is a great question for Nick the Van Man, because I think he has a TH375 he just did in that AHRA van. He could answer that one for you. RT211 says, I know I asked this a couple of weeks ago in the chat. Is there anyone that knows anyone going to the Mopar Blast? There have been people talking about it in the chat, but I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Why don't you make a community post about it, RT211? I know Dizzy was talking about it, so Dizzy Izzy may be there. Sean O'Brien will probably be there because he works at that track, but I don't know. I can't answer for him. He just finished his race in the No Name 500. Thumper says a TH375 is a TH400 case with a 350 output shaft spline. Okay. That seems kind of wild. So, ooh, that seems like kind of a worst of both worlds setup there. What's the purpose of that, Thumper? What is the point of that? Is it just to have modularity of drive shaft, or what is the deal with that? Smaller clutch packs inside? Okay. Then why does it have a 400 case? To take up more room? To be heavier? Danny Boyd said, I made it. I knew something was missing. Max Wedges, I have a set of old school ladder bars I can't find a use for. Can't scrap them. Like, what kind of ladder bars are they? Thumper said it was a slightly heavier transmission for big car. So basically, it's a beefed up TH350. What are they getting with the bigger case? Because the bell housing pattern was the same. So I don't know. Yeah, that's interesting. It's neat that you put that up there, because I'll go over here to when I went to the swap meet at Farmington, I was looking around and I saw this. It's a transmission book from 1984. So I thought that'll be interesting. And it's got all kinds of manual and automatic stuff in it. Thought that was pretty cool. This just came in the pile. It's an essay book I don't own, so I thought that was interesting. I thought this was really cool. A Crane Cam's 1973 catalog and price sheet. Crane Cam's 1973. Thought that was pretty neat. A 1990 Mopar Performance catalog with price sheet, just to make us all cry. And this, I don't know anything about these people. A 1974 Tri-Tac Mopar catalog. This is a speed shop in New Jersey in 1974. This is the kind of catalog that you just don't see. And so I was digging around through it, looking a little bit. It's a cool catalog. Unfortunately, there's no price sheet with it. That would have been kind of neat. No price sheet, but all kinds of cool old speed parts. A lot of the stuff you would expect. Check that out. An aluminum oil pan that has the hole for the drag link. And obviously it's a big block. Drivetrain parts, and rockers, and springs. That hasn't changed at all. That's the Mopar spring relocation kit. There's one thing I was looking for. Oh, yeah. So here's a 727 in here. I'd love to know what's in it and all, but, you know, this is all just obscure stuff now. But you could buy that transmission assembly. I guess they made them in-house. I don't know. And, of course, lots of old race cars and such. But anyway, I'd like to know more about this place. It's an old speed shop in New Jersey. Their 74 catalog. And you know it's really old when they accept Master Charge and Bank AmeriCard. But the best I can tell, it's 1974. I like stuff like that. And it was cheap. The guy said, I don't want to go home with any of it. So, oh, and it came with, because he said this is totally unrelated, but it's the last book here, and it was this 2001 Gun Digest. I have no idea what I would ever do with that. So, there's Jeremy Finley. How's it going, sir? I like your new thumbnail there. That's pretty cool. Jeremy, you missed it. It was right. I think it was right after you jumped out of the chat because we had a lot going on and question and answer stuff last week. But right after that, I got your pictures and I put them up on the screen. I showed your dad's ride and your ride. Fun stuff. SRP says, what is a 3/4 cam? All them Chevy guys talk about. It's their low performance expectations met with low performance reality. Best way I can explain it. And for whatever this is worth, I just got this from Cope. So this is, I guess, is what he's doing. He's out in his power wagon and a drive-through. So more power to him. I was going to put that up again, though. Yeah, here we go. Here's our friend Jeremy Finley in the chat there. Wild little ride. Is that Princeton? Is that what that is? And then this is his father's mud dragster. Does that look like a wild ride or what? Oh my gosh. Do you still have that, Jeremy? Raining Slant 6 with a chance cannonball says, anyone hear that GM is bringing Pontiac? Or is that YouTube clickbait? I don't know. I heard something about it. Couldn't tell you. Maxed Wedge, Dick Dastardly says, I've got a 30-30 pump Savage, 412 Bushnell, $100. That's a good score. Jeremy says, I have the old chassis. Who wants to see a video done on this in 2024? Who wants to see some original content done on this? Levi says, there's that Redbeard guy. He has to come win the 28-10-5 class again. Redbeard says, I'm definitely going to try. Right on. And he says he has the old chassis, so. Levi says, we can't let the Fords win again. There's going to be some competition to win. That's for sure. Most of the old parts and rust tells Levi, we have one wheel back on the Duster tomorrow. The other side goes in, and we'll see what happens next. Okay. Redbeard says that's a fact. Well, we got to see it. It's definitely a race of the people who show up and throw down. I mean, it's not a gimme. The breakage problem was big last year. A lot of people were broken last year, so I think that'll be better this year. We'll see. KJ Keeley says it's a cam with 12 lobes, real lumpy idle. 12 lobes. What's it in, a V6? Auto Salvage Outlaws is here. How you doing, sir? "12 lobes" describes either a 6-cylinder or a typical 80s GM cam when 4 of them are worn away. SR Pieces, I have a 442 with Jeg sticker on the back window, a bug scoop, and glass packs. In other words, you're old. ASO just got out of surgery an hour ago. Well, must have gone reasonably well. You're here chatting with us. Redbeard is hoping a Mopar or Pontiac wins it. Redbeard, the answer is I'm hoping I win it. Hey, yes, loses, I feel no pain. Well, something to be said for that. Are you all Pink Floyd out, hanging out with us? Okay, here we go. So Patrick says that Levi did a beautiful job welding his wheels up. Cool. Okay. So would you change the width on them or something? Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said a 6-cylinder. Either that or a chewed up Chevy cam from the 80s that's got 4 missing. You never know. There you go. That's 3/4 cam, 12 lobe cam. There you go. Dakota just won the 28x10.5 t-shirt class. Redbeard, you'll appreciate this. We had a guessing game so you could guess how many splines are on a 727 sprag race. And Dakota full auto posted until he won. Won a shirt like that. I admire the spunk that it takes to do that. Thumper, is it a moist or damp shirt? No, it should be bone dry. It's I got them in tubs right over there. This is my live streaming place, fulfillment center, everything. I've got decals over here. I've got banners over here. I've got t-shirts over there. Yeah, Dakota was mag dumping his guesses. All right. Oh, yeah, I get it. I only know of one 3/4 cam, and that's Professor P's. He literally made the grind number 3/4 just to do that. Patrick said the previous owner put 11/16 holes in them for the tubes. Oh, okay. You know, you can get the oversized truck valve stem in rubber, but you need metal valve stems to pass tech. And I don't know if they make that size valve stem in metal. But I've put many a rubber valve stem that oversized in rubber in there. Your car's too quick for that, though. SRP 3/4 Chevy man's goes. Yeah, maybe. I don't know what they do. Chevy people just they have some strange life that I don't know anything about, and I'm good with that. Dakota's a champion. Yes, Dakota is. For real. Yeah, you can find old cams from the 50s, 60s, 70s or 3/4 race cam. Yeah, yeah. Iskey came out with that. Ed Iskandarian came out with the term 3/4 cam. It was a marketing thing. So yeah, you can find those, but I've only seen one that it literally was put into the part number. All right, ASO. Well, thanks for joining us, man. Take care of your health. Ron says I do a live on location. Yeah, yeah. I did one from Pennsylvania a few weeks ago. I did one from the Charlotte, North Carolina area last week. I'll be doing more of those this year, hopefully. Thumper says I put the steel valve stems in now. Yeah, you have to at a certain point of tech too. I believe Patrick's car has to have the steel to pass tech. Cave Dave said, looking for a gasket for my 65 Plymouth 727 cable shift. The gasket for the housing where the shift cable connects. Can't find much of the older 727s. That's a good Cope question right there. I'd put that question, I would drop that right in the comments of one of Cope's videos. Dakota found one that had 3/4 race cam on. But yeah, I'm sure it's an Iskey, right? That's pretty cool. Or make your own gasket. Yeah, you can do that. Engine runs best with the whole cam. Indeed, it does. '38 worked on a Ford small block that drove in with the cam broken off at the fourth journal. I can totally believe that. Yeah. Man, what is all this 3/4 cam craziness all of a sudden? What is all this stuff? Rain Sunday evening, maybe. All I know is that I've got mowing done for another 2 weeks. And next time I go back, I'm going to mow and pressure wash. This time I mowed and removed a whole bunch of trash, trees, and brush. RT211 Racing says, I'm not trying to make the car faster, just trying to get it back to what it was. Don't worry, you're right on the edge, and your combination, that car works wonderfully. I wouldn't change a thing. But, at some point, that car just has no business being as quick as it is. You have got just exactly the right combination in that car. Whatever it is, it works great. SRP says, blame me on the 3/4 cam. No, I blame Ed Iskandarian. And he's still living at what? He's 102? Yeah, just make a gasket. You could do that. Levi says RT211 is a bad to the bone bracket racer. Watch a couple videos. Yes, he is. If you haven't checked out RT211 Racing's channel, go check it out. In fact, he is at 435 subs. He is 65 away from crossing the finish line of the No Name 500. So on my channel, if you go to my channel, you'll see it right there, RT211, or one of the mods can put up the link. But yeah, definitely go check him out. He's got a really cool Challenger that I remember the first time I saw it, just Mopar Joe said, "This is what's in this car. What do you think it runs?" And I was way off. I never thought it'd be that quick. I gotta say, without Dakota's sense of humor, things just would not be the same. My neighbor's uncle's third cousin uses 3/4 race cams, and he gets drunk and outruns the law at Chevelle every weekend. So if you don't have a 3/4 race cam, you don't know anything. Dakota, I saw something this last week where a guy's name was Dave Marshall. I saw that, and of course I thought of you. Full-time cylinder deactivation. Those cars were the worst ever. I'm going to stick around just a minute, see if anyone wants to put up the link to Ross's channel. And we are in the last couple of minutes here, so anybody else have any last minute anything? Let's stick around just a minute and see if anybody puts up Ross's link. I have a hard time doing it because I don't have my YouTube browser open at the same time. But that's okay. Can't quite do it from here. But yeah, you can go to my channel, and my link is right below your video screen. And if you go to my channel, you'll see RT211 Racing. He's 65 away from 500, so let's help him out. Check out his channel. See if he earns your subscription. It's a great channel, so do check it out. And with that, we're at our time. Thank you guys for turning out. It's been a blast as always. This is the highlight of my week. This week is no exception. And we've got 124 days, 1 hour, and 57 minutes until the third annual AHRA No Name Nationals. So time just keeps a ticking down. It's going to be in the 1-teens next Friday. And it'll be under 100 days before you know it. So this is like NASCAR, getting in those last few laps. Time to make your moves. So let's do it. And I look forward to seeing all of you guys again next week. Y'all take care. Thanks.